Over the past 5 years, I spent well over 1,000 hours trying to figure out how to quit porn and masturbation permanently for good. Book studies, hundreds of podcasts, dozens of methods tested on myself. I tried the NoFap, accountability, discipline, having a purpose, everything you can think of. I even read Easy Peasy, and none of it worked until I found something that changed everything. And since then, I've stayed completely clean. My life also changed as a byproduct. I'm in the best shape of my life. I've coached hundreds of men with this exact problem. I wrote a book, I've traveled the world, and I actually have relationships worth having. So I'm going to give you everything I learned in 5 concepts. But make sure you watch all of them because each one builds on the last. And the final concept is the one that makes it all click. Concept 1, you're not an addict. This is the first thing you need to hear, because everything else will fall apart if you get this wrong. The entire porn recovery world, NoFap, the groups, the YouTube videos, the experts, Easy Peasy, they all start with the same exact idea that you are addicted, that your brain is hijacked, that you've lost control over yourself. And I believed that for a long time. I really did. But here's the truth. First of all, the DSM-5, which is literally the manual that doctors and psychologists use to diagnose every mental health condition, does not even recognize porn as an addiction. You can look it up yourself. So why does everyone call it an addiction? And the truth is, it's because it sells. Recovery, apps, courses, supplements. Let's face it, if you're broken and powerless, then you're going to search for these things, for external help, and they will sell you that fix. But you're not broken. And I'm not just saying this to make you feel better. Over the past few years, as I've been coaching people and across my videos, in my program or on YouTube, I've asked this one question, and it's a simple question, but it's going to help you realize something very important. If you were offered $1 million right now, but the catch is you can never, ever watch porn again for the rest of your life, would you do it? Be honest, of course you could. You wouldn't even think twice. But if you were truly addicted, if you truly had no control over yourself, that deal would be impossible. You'd literally fail. And that question makes you realize when you want to quit porn, you shouldn't ask yourself, how do I quit porn? Or you shouldn't think it's impossible to quit porn, but rather it's a simple question of value. You still see some form of value in porn, and that's the reason why you want to watch porn in the first place. That's the reason why you have those desires and urges. And that brings me to the second concept. Don't have an urge problem, you have a perception problem. When I was 16, I was lonely, no friends. People at school would make fun of me, so I would play video games, binge on video games up until 5 a.m. in the morning. I would binge on video games 16 hours a day when I was free. And I'm not even exaggerating. I would bring my Xbox to people's houses because I couldn't go a few hours without it. It was that bad. And I'd throw tantrums. I will slam the door. I was completely consumed by it. And then one day, I just stopped. Nobody took my Xbox away. Nobody forced me. I didn't go to a gaming rehab. I didn't count how many days has it been since I last played. I just stopped seeing the point in playing. It was natural. The value faded, and once the value was gone, I didn't need willpower, self-control, discipline. I didn't need to fight anything. I just moved on like it was nothing. And porn works the same exact way. Right now, you might see porn as something that is valuable, at least unconsciously. You think, when I face problems in life and I feel so stressed out, I can escape using porn. Sure, it makes my life worse, but in that moment, I get those benefits. I get that value of being able to get that relief. Or maybe my life is dull and boring, and when I watch porn, I feel like I'm getting more excitement. And as long as you see those benefits, you will want to come back. Because why do we have desires? Because they get us something. We don't just have desires for no reason. There's a reward that we think we're going to get if we were to do that thing. If I reproduce with a real woman, I'll get the reward of being able to have kids. If I watch porn, for a lot of people, me included in the past, you get a sense of comfort when you're lonely and you feel like you'll never get any type of sexual experience and porn is the only option. Well, you might feel like it is a substitute that is in front of you that you can use. So the question is, it's not how do I resist the urges? The question is, what value do I see in porn? So you can then work on the value that you see in it and change your mind that way. Once you fix that and you see that those benefits, the value that you see in porn is actually fake and illusionary, the urges, they will start disappearing on their own. Concept number 3. The recovery movement actually makes quitting porn harder. I might make some people upset, but you need to listen. The mainstream porn recovery world, the NoFap, the streak, the reboot timelines, is actually keeping you stuck. Here's how. They tell you that you're an addict, that you are powerless. They tell you to count the days because they tell you after 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, then you'll be free forever. Now, every single day is a reminder that you are fighting something. They tell you about the flat lines, the withdrawals. Now you literally expect to feel terrible. And guess what? You do. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like the playground effect. A kid falls down on the playground and he just brushes it off. He's fine. He just continues on playing. But if an adult sees the same kid falling down and runs over screaming, "Oh my God, are you okay?" Now the kid starts crying. The fall wasn't the problem. The reaction was. Porn is the same thing. You watch some videos on the screen. You could have decided to stop or at least reduce it naturally, as we do with any other behaviors and habits that we successfully left behind in the past. But then the recovery world comes in and tells you that you have a disease. So you can't just make a decision. You can't just change your mind because they say that your brain is actually damaged, that you might need more than 90 days to heal. And that is what made it feel impossible. I spent 2 full years in that world of trying to quit, watching NoFap videos almost every day, counting my streak, resetting my counter. And I felt like garbage every time I went back to it, every time I relapsed. And you know what happened? Sure, I was making some progress. I would go from day 30 to day 60 to day 90, but I would always come back. I would always fall again. And it would make me feel worse and worse and worse, because I was making my entire life about quitting porn. And the more I focused on quitting, the more I thought about the thing that I was trying to quit. The moment I stepped away from all of that, I gave up the idea of a streak. I stopped consuming so much NoFap videos. I stopped being so engaged in trying my hardest to quit, is the moment things actually started to change. And suddenly, porn became something that wasn't even on my mind anymore. And because of that, as a byproduct, I was much more focused on my other projects, whether that be the clothing brand that I had at that time, or my fitness, my projects. And these grew, and quitting became much, much more easier. Concept number 4, your thoughts, they create your emotions. It's not the other way around. If you ever studied CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, this is a concept that is often talked about. Most people think that they feel an urge and then they act on it, like the urges appears out of nowhere and pushes you to watch porn, except if you have willpower, then you can fight it off. But that's not how it actually works. Here's what really happens. You have a thought. Maybe you see something on your phone, Instagram model on your phone. Maybe you're bored, so you think of stress and your default is to think about porn. Then what happens is there's a process that happens that most people are not aware of. Then you decide with your own mind to add a story to that thought. You start saying, this is dangerous. I can't resist this. I'm about to relapse. Oh no, I'm addicted, so I might lose control over myself. The story that you're telling yourself then changes everything. That story is what creates the feeling, the desire, the urge as we call it. The thought came first, the emotion, the desire came second. Let me give you an example. Imagine a woman comes up to you and says, "You're very attractive. Can I get your number?" And so you start thinking, wow, there's a woman that finds me attractive. And you start playing that story of, it's because of my physique, I'm training hard at the gym, I'm taking care of myself. I then feel worthy because it's very rare that a woman comes up to a man to compliment them like this. If that's the story that's playing in your mind, then you're going to feel confident, worthy, attractive, and so on. But imagine that same exact woman that complimented you said the same exact words, but you realize, and you didn't realize at first, but let's say hypothetically, you didn't realize, oh, she's actually a sex worker. So she's just trying to get my attention, so I give her money. Then are you going to feel the same way? Attractive, worthy, confident? Probably not, because the story that's going to play in your mind is going to be totally different. You're going to think, well, she's just doing this because she wants money. She doesn't even find me attractive. Not because of how I look, it's just because she wants something out of me. Same exact words were said, different story, different thoughts. Therefore, the individual feels completely different. And porn works the same exact way. The desire you feel isn't coming from outside you. You are creating it with your own thoughts. So when a thought about porn shows up, you don't need to fight it. You don't need to resist it and start panicking and start thinking that this is proof that you're still addicted and your brain is damaged. Because if that's how you think, then you're going to act accordingly. But a thought is just a thought. Why do you give it so much meaning? If I think about jumping off a balcony, do I think that this thought is a thought that I need to fight off? No, because I don't give it much importance. And I know that the thought is just passing by. It doesn't mean anything. See your thoughts, your desire for porn the same way, and you're going to see that you don't need to fight anything. And that freedom is not that hard. You can become free forever without having to fight a battle for the rest of your life. So now, how do you actually take everything I just told you and turn it into a real system that works for your specific life? And more importantly, how do you make sure you don't just watch this video, you feel motivated for a day or two, and then go right back to the same exact cycle? Well, that's exactly why I built my coaching for. It's called the Effortless Method. It's a one-on-one program where I personally walk you through the whole process. I build you a custom roadmap. I make personalized videos for your situation, and you get direct access to me whenever you need it. If you're tired of trying the same stuff that doesn't work, the link to book a call with me is in the description. No pressure at all. This is only for the people who are tired of this cycle and want to finally make a change in their lives. I'll see you guys in the next video.